1.9 million. Dying from a bee sting, 1 in 5.5 million. And finally, your odds of dying in a plane crash are 1 in 7 million. And Kayla, what would you tell your students if they thought they had a chance at winning a sports car and their odds were 1 in 7 million?
I would suggest they not even waste their time.
Of course. Last, I want to suggest the use of medication to treat your anxiety. While it's not necessarily something that everyone would want to turn to, it is a perfectly acceptable coping mechanism and resource. You can have your doctor write you a prescription for an anti-anxiety medication, or if you didn't have the time or you wanted a different resource, you can always try Benadryl if you're not going to be driving. It can help put you at ease on your flight, as long as you're not driving anywhere. Does anyone have any questions about the things that we discussed today? Do we all feel more prepared to take our flights now? Great. Next will be Jenna with the evaluation phase.
It's so nice to see everyone again. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing well. I think this group is really helping. My flight is next week, and I'm not as nervous about it as when I had started coming here.
That's great. I'm glad this is helping.
I'm doing okay. My flight's in 3 weeks, and while I'm grateful to have this group, I'm still feeling really anxious about my flight.
That's perfectly fine, Kayla. It can be hard to overcome our fears, but I'm confident that you'll be able to overcome this. Amanda and Kayla have already taken their flight, and I'm sure hearing about their experiences will be very beneficial. Kayla and Amanda, how are you all? How did your flights go?
I'm doing great. My flight went really well. I just got back from a business trip a few days ago, actually.
That's wonderful, Kayla. Amanda, how about you?
I'm doing all right. I did okay on my flight. I was still really nervous going into it, though.
That's completely understandable, Amanda. We don't overcome our fears overnight, and it's okay to still be nervous. But remember that you still faced your fears, and that's something to be proud of. I want to hear more from you two about your flight. How were you feeling before you got on the plane? I know, Kayla, you said you were particularly nervous about takeoff and landing. How did those go? And Amanda, you said you were nervous about turbulence. What was it like to experience that?
Before getting on, I was very nervous. I kept thinking what it would be like. Takeoff and landing went better than I thought they would. Both were a little startling at first, but I quickly got used to it and was able to calm down. There wasn't a whole lot of turbulence, but I wasn't too nervous when there was.
Wonderful, Kayla. How did this group help you during your flight? What were a few things that we have discussed in the group that helped you during your flight?
Well, a few days before my flight, I did a little bit of research on pilot training. I found it very interesting, and it helped me because I was able to see how much a person needs to do in order to become a pilot. It was reassuring. I also looked into the flight records a lot while I waited to get on the plane. Seeing those really helped me too, because it was nice to see a list of successful flights.
Great, Kayla. Thanks for sharing. I'm glad that this group was able to help you prepare and feel less nervous about your flight. Amanda, what about you?
Like I mentioned earlier, I was still really nervous walking onto the plane. There wasn't a lot of turbulence, but I found it difficult at times to calm myself down when we did experience a little bit of turbulence. Takeoff and landing went well, though. It was mainly the turbulence that I had trouble dealing with.
What did you do to calm yourself down? How did your experience in this group help you while you were on your flight?
I tried to use that CBT to calm myself down. When I felt myself starting to get anxious, I would focus on my breathing, and I did my best to speak over the lies that my mind was telling me. I also kept thinking about the statistics. I didn't research pilot training like Kayla did, but looking back, I think it would have been helpful.
That's great, Amanda. What were some of the lies that your mind was trying to tell you?
My mind kept trying to tell me that the plane was going to crash, and I had to keep reminding myself that if something was really wrong, they would tell us.
Thank you for sharing. I'm glad you were able to use what you learned to help calm you down. Kate, Kayla, and Cody, how are you feeling now after hearing Kayla and Amanda share their experiences?
I think it was helpful to hear about their experiences. I'm feeling good about going on my flight, but hearing about their experiences now is still helpful.
Yeah, I'm still anxious about my flight, but hearing Kayla and Amanda talk about their flights helped me calm down a little.
That's great to hear. You all have made a lot of progress by attending these meetings. I'm very proud of each of you. Next time we meet, it'll be our last meeting, so please be prepared to talk about anything else you need.
The last phase will be termination, facilitated by Kayla Warren.
All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our final session of the Aerophobia group. Today, we're going to devote our session to reflecting on the group's accomplishments and success as a whole, in addition to any individual concerns you might have. To begin, I would like for us all to discuss any feelings we're having about this being our final session. Who would like to share?
Well, I'm still feeling a little concerned that when it comes to actually getting on my flight in a few weeks, that I won't be able to do it.
All right, well, I would like for you to think about all the information, techniques, and interventions we have discussed in previous sessions. Are there any that you can think of that could help you once our sessions have concluded?
Well, I suppose I could use the calming app we discussed right before I get on my flight, or even during my flight somehow. It helped to ease the tension and anxiety I feel. I'm also going to speak with my doctor about if it'd be a good option to get something medicinally.
That is a great idea. I'm so glad to see that you have intentions of talking with your doctor prior to your flight and plan to do so even after our sessions have ended. I would like to remind everyone that it was through your hard work and dedication in this group to discover new ways to cope and make changes to help you overcome your aerophobia that has got us this far in the group process. Does anyone else have any concerns that they would like to share with the group? No? All right then. So next thing I would like for us all to do is to complete the client satisfaction survey to allow me to address any concerns anyone has and to evaluate how well the program worked for each of you. So here, take these, fill them out. All right, and then in addition to this feedback on our overall group sessions with me, I would now like to ask you all to speak to one another about ways you could use the intervention and skills discussed in group outside of the group.
I plan to use the cognitive-based therapy when it comes to cognitive distortions. I need to reframe about flying, and everyone else in the group can agree it can and will be helpful.
Okay, what does everyone else think and feel about this type of technique?
I feel like it's one of the more appropriate ways to change our ways of thinking about flying and the fear associated with these distortions.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Amanda and Kayla, and for reflecting on such a great tool that can be used. Moving on, I would like to say that I have greatly enjoyed seeing each of you accomplish your goals and continue to work on your long-term goals in order to help you overcome your fears of flying. With many of you heading on to your first flights very soon, I want to allow you all to discuss your feelings. Who would like to share on this matter?
I actually am still feeling a bit uneasy and would love to have some additional support after services have concluded, if that is somehow possible.
Okay, Jenna, I think what you're saying is that you would like some sort of a check-in or a follow-up. Is that correct?
Yes, a check-in sounds great.
Okay, so if it's okay with everyone, I can do a follow-up group session via Zoom for anyone who would like to attend in the next upcoming week or so before most of you get on your flights.
As a social worker who's practicing with groups, it's always important to make sure that we're not isolating any members. So it was a big strength for this facilitator to make sure that the invitation was extended to all of the group.
All right, great. I will send out an email to each of you with that invitation link to allow us all the opportunity for a check-in. To celebrate everyone's accomplishments, I feel it's appropriate to have some sort of an ending ritual, and I have brought some refreshments if anyone would like to partake in these. You have all accomplished so much and deserve to be celebrated for your ongoing strength and perseverance to overcome your aerophobia. I would like to thank you all again so much for being such a productive and collaborative group, and I look forward to our follow-up meeting with one another. Have a great evening and feel free to reach out if you have any other concerns.
And that concludes our presentation.